If you were able to change one part of the UK legal system, what would it be?
It's difficult to say, really. I think I'm not necessarily sure that I would agree with having like a constitution or something. I know that a lot of people would say that. I kind of like the flexible approach that we have in the UK at the moment. Um, but I think that generally there should be a greater trend towards sort of um, liberty in terms of how we look at the law. Um, and I just think that you can on a philosophical sense, a lot of things can come back to the sort of aggression principle, which is the idea that you shouldn't really do harm to another person, or a person should be free to live their life, and you shouldn't really be intervening in that. And this is the advantage of having a philosophical approach to the law, is that I can give you that as my answer, and then it affects a lot of things. So non-intervention in people's lives would basically allow a freer immigration program, because we shouldn't really be getting involved in people who are coming to the UK, or stopping them necessarily coming in. It affects tax law, because to what extent should people be intervening in your own financial affairs? What right does the government have to say to intervene and take money away from you in order to fund services? And some of those services are good, but there's also a lot of waste within government. And then it has the advantage of sort of even certain ethical questions as well. So things like transgender rights and things like that. What right does the government have to say over the way that those people choose to live their lives, and place regulations over how they approach things? So I've slightly cheated your question, I'm afraid.
Yes, thank you so much. And I would just like to move on to the last part, and I guess this is what our audience are hoping for. So for aspiring law students, so do you have any advice for them, first of all?
Yeah. I mean, I think you're an A-level student at the moment. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. And I think even before doing A levels or something like that, so maybe if someone's sort of like at GCSE level, or maybe if they're even before GCSE level, I know that there's like a lot of choices in terms of what subjects to study. And people might think about, career in the law, and sort of be directing their choice of subjects towards that goal. And I think the main thing is sort of, obviously good grades are important, but I think the way to get good grades is to do subjects that you enjoy. So even if someone, for example, might really enjoy doing biology, but because they want to be a lawyer, they might think, oh well, I'm not going to pick biology because I don't think it will help me towards that goal. And I think that at GCSE or at A level, I think that that's kind of the wrong approach. I think that you kind of need to pick the subjects that you enjoy, because you're going to then have that passion for learning that subject. You're going to pick up relevant skills along the way, and then you're going to hopefully get a good grade because it's something that you actually enjoy studying. Whereas if you say picked history because you thought, oh, well, that's kind of related to the law a little bit more than biology, but you just didn't enjoy it, you didn't engage with it, you just didn't find it interesting, then I think that you're going to really struggle further along, because it's going to affect your grades, it's going to affect your motivation for learning. And I think that my advice for students sort of coming out of that and trying to make it into more general advice would be to just always try and maintain that passion for learning different things. And that might be watching YouTube videos that sort of teach you how to do different skills, or it might be reading different books about, subjects that you enjoy. But I think the main thing is to try and, throughout your entire life, just have that passion for learning, and just always be open to new ideas and new ways of thinking, and be intellectually curious, I guess would be my advice.
Yes. So, do you think, like, apart from intellectual curiosity, what other skills do you think an aspiring law student should have?
I think that working on writing is really important, and reading and writing are always going to be sort of like the core skills that you have. A lot of your things on a law degree or law A level or anything like that is going to be based around essay writing. There's not really such a practical element to it. And I think that writing is one of the skills where the more that you have a chance to practice it, the better you will become at it. So even if that's not necessarily writing something for school, if it's writing, even if you're into writing like short fiction or something like that, that's going to be a beneficial skill because you're thinking about language when you're writing. And so much of the law comes down to language and interpretation of language. And, so many of the cases that I talk about on the podcast come down to like the interpretation of a single word. But it's never just about that one word and sort of like looking in the dictionary to see what that word means. It's all about understanding that word in context. And that context can be thousands and thousands of pages of law, legal material, political debates, books and things like that. And I think that the way that you build that up yourself as like a law student is just basically to be doing a lot of writing, doing a lot of reading, and just always being sort of, like I say, it comes back to that intellectual curiosity to an extent, but definitely sort of take advantage of any opportunities that you have to sort of write a lot or read a lot, or even engaging in things like debate or drama societies or anything like that, just anything that's going to sort of get you using language, because that's what a lot of law comes down to.